welcome to the Young Reporter's special program on this year's Chief Executive Policy Address. I'm Emily Chen.
Ellen Lai, Chief Executive John Lee delivered his third policy address in the Legislative Council today. He promised what he called a result-oriented government by reforming what he described as weaknesses, bottlenecks, and hurdles in his administration.
The government wants to enhance Hong Kong's status as a financial, shipping, and trade center, and at the same time develop communication technology, science, and new energy that are tailored to local conditions.
The Chief Executive then fielded questions from the press this afternoon about his policy address. Our reporter Gigi Hall is there. She is on standby outside central government offices. Gigi, could you tell me what John Lee has said?
Thank you, Emily and Elaine. This is Gigi Ho reporting live from outside the Central Government Office here in Hong Kong, where Chief Executive John Lee delivered the 2024 policy address this morning. So the latest Hong Kong policy address to focus on boosting the economy, attracting global talent, and addressing housing issues. The Chief Executive wants to strengthen Hong Kong's role as a global financial hub, lower the spirit tax, expand program to attract skilled professionals, and support small businesses. The government also plans to increase housing supply and develop the northern metropolis area, and hope to promote sustainable development and start smart city technologies.
You mentioned housing, so how does CE plan to tackle Hong Kong's housing problem?
The housing crisis in Hong Kong has long been a critical issue. We are well known for high property price and limited affordable housing. Policy address aimed to easing the housing burden, especially for the first-time buyer. One policy is increasing the loan-to-value ratio for all property to 70%, which allows buyers to borrow more with smaller down payment. This is important for young people struggling with high property price in the city.
Last question, how about the education issue in Hong Kong?
On education, the policy address focus on improving the education by expanding professional training program to meet industry needs, particularly in technologically and STEM fields. Not only the student, the government will also increase the number of training places and collaboration with industry. Teacher training will also be enhanced. This step reflects a commitment to closing the skill gap for Hong Kong youth, our future generation.
Thank you, Gigi. Also, in the policy address are proposals to revitalize the tourist trade and efforts to boost what the CE calls cultural confidence. Aluj Alishba Medloop visited some of the potential new tourist destinations to find out what people there think.
Aberdeen Typhoon Shelter may one day become a destination for yacht tourism. That's one of the chief executive's plans to spur the tourist trade.
Other than turning what was once a typhoon refuge into a tourist spot, the chief executive also called for community efforts to develop new places of interest for visitors. The government will also relax entry requirements for certain countries.
為促進同東盟往來，政府即日起放寬柬埔寨、老撾同緬甸旅遊同商務一簽多行申請門檻，同一簽多行簽證有效期由2年增加至3年。
Pui O on Lantau may well become a new attraction, but not everyone welcomes the idea.
因為太多人啦，咁變咗會影響周邊嘅環境啦，同埋影響我哋以前嘅生活，即係而家嘅生活啦。咁如果再整個咁嘅長廊，就冇經濟價值啦。
It's nice for the business, but like I lived here for almost like quite some time. It's always been peace and quiet. Yeah, it might disrupt the environment.
I think like maybe some of the infrastructure won't be enough to accommodate that many people. For example, this road coming down here is only single lane. Yeah. So we're gonna have to coordinate back and forth. It might get a bit messy.
The CE also hopes to develop tourism's products with characteristics in waterfront site areas.
In further efforts to revive the tourist trade, the chief executive plans to reduce tax on liquor from 100% to 10%. While some drinkers welcome the idea, health experts and medics are unsure about the policy. Gigi Har has the story.
It's not for Karens on Monday nights, where the nightlife of the city come to life. The bars are packed, glasses filled with beer and wine, but few drinkers will savor cocktails that are mixed with spirits.
香港酒咁 depends on 咩種類啦，因為我啱啱喺台灣翻嚟，咁whisky 可能會比喺即係其他外國地方會比較貴啲，但紅酒即係相對嚟講，我覺得都係合理嘅。
But that may soon change. In his policy address today, Chief Executive John Lee proposed to cut tax on liquor.
即日起，進口價200元以上嘅烈酒，200元以上部分嘅稅率由100%減至10%。
There has been no tax on wine in Hong Kong since 2008, and the CE believes that has helped tourism. But will it?
Most of the people, they go on weekends in China because the drinks are more cheaper over there. In Hong Kong, it's quite expensive.
It's good news for the Hong Kong Bar and Club Association, which says lower liquor tax will cut the cost for bars.
當然我哋期望烈酒稅係減到0啦，20% 都唔好有啦，係啦，0係最好嘅。酒吧亦都會更加多不同嘅品牌咧舉辦活動，會刺激到我哋個酒吧嗰個消費者消費。
This local distillery hope lower tax will help them become more competitive.
尤其是對於消費者嚟講啦，即係可能一支酒嘅價錢喺外國買同喺香港買，基本上香港買係貴1倍嘅。咁呢個會影響到佢哋買嘢時嘅一啲抉擇啦，或者決策啦。
Harry Wrong, a local bar owner, is not satisfied with the new tax rate of policy address.
整體幫助銷量都可能係可能幾個%啦，只係售價可能由3000、5000甚至去到1萬至2萬蚊到嘅酒咧，嗰啲就會有幫助。但係嗰啲酒咧喺我哋個生意佔比咧都係只係得1至2%。
Ow! What happened? Alcoholic.
The former health secretary, Sophia Chan, joined a petition to oppose the cut in liquor tax. This doctor agrees.
病人係有少少開心快樂嘅，不過呢個咧係短暫嘅一個效果啦。當身體開始慢慢去分解排出體外，將呢種排出嘅時候咧，其實已經會有一啲令人覺得焦慮抑鬱嘅感覺啦。
At this bar, a cocktail that contains vodka currently costs $118. A bartender told us this fancy drink are most popular with locals. So at a government poster and video that warn young people are drinking, getting a cocktail like this will likely be a lot cheaper. This is Gigi from TYR News.
The chief executive announced plans to strengthen support for people with disabilities. He promised to enhance rehabilitation services and encourage employers to hire the disabled. But an NGO said more needs to be done. Kenny Lau reports.
Koi was diagnosed with a visual impairment condition 5 years ago. She gets just over $2,000 a month in welfare payments. But she found it's hard to get a job.
即係政府會俾啲津貼，個老闆嚟請我哋嘅。咁但係我覺得個成效唔大咯，因為始終譬如我哋視障嘅話咧，係真係好難揾工，即係嗰個就業嗰個範圍比較細嘅。
Today's policy address includes a proposal for a caring employer model to commend employers who actively engage people with disabilities, in addition to other initiatives.
為鼓勵同埋支援殘疾人士就業，政府會設立愛心僱主獎章，表揚積極聘請殘疾人士嘅僱主，推動成立更多聘用殘疾人士嘅社企，優化庇護工場及綜合職業康復服務中心嘅服務同埋訓練模式。
Kenny Su is an assistant manager at the Hong Kong Physically Handicapped and Able-Bodied Association.
睇翻世界上好多城市，譬如悉尼新加坡甚至無內地嘅城市，即上海深圳其實佢哋有一個全方位一個成個城市嘅無障礙發展嘅策略嘅藍圖，係成個城市一齊講無障礙，唔係逐棟樓講。
The government will establish 40 integrated community rehabilitation centers across city. These centers will offer around 1,300 extra service spaces to manage and support individual needs. Kenny Lau, TYR News.
The chief executive promises to expand the scholarship scheme to improve student hostel facilities this year and promote Hong Kong as an international hub for post-secondary education. Rebecca Young has that story.
Only 45% of secondary school leavers made it to university this past year. according to government figures. The chief executive promised today to improve the regulatory and quality assurance mechanisms of self-financing post-secondary institutions so that more young people can go to college. There are also plans to attract more students from outside Hong Kong.
Creating the Study in Hong Kong brand, we will strive to host international education conferences and exhibitions. We will also encourage local post-secondary institutions to enhance collaboration and exchange with their counterparts around the world in promoting the Study in Hong Kong brand on a global scale.
Overseas students explain the pros and cons of Hong Kong as an education brand.
I think the educational system in Hong Kong brings together kind of the formula from the West, a little bit from the UK, a little bit from the US, but also with the close connection to mainland China.
它是一个连接中外的桥梁，它有很多国际化的一些视野、国际性的课程。
对于大部分人来说，可能1年制硕士它的学费是相对较高的，然后它的奖学金的名额其实是比较少的，所以这一点可能算是一些缺陷吧。
Right now, most graduates can stay in college dorms for 1 year only out of their 4-year degree programs. But the government also wants to streamline application to expand campuses and student hostels.
Patriotic education has received more attention, with measures such as student study tours in the mainland and national affairs education were promoted in last year's policy address. Edith Ihan reports.
Patriotic education has received more attention, with measures such as study tours in the mainland and national affairs education were promoted in the last year's policy address. According to last year, 50 secondary schools are to be assessed on national education by the Education Bureau, and primary students being introduced to humanities to build a national identity for the youth. Teachers also receive training in national education and to organize mainland study tours. Yuan Cheng-sing, a National Education Committee chairperson in Sha Tin Po Yin College, says that policy applies to the whole school community in order for all stakeholders to understand national education.
政府做咗一個國家安全教育嘅具體措施嗰個政策啦，咁就全學校咧就一齊去做個參與，就係即係唔同嘅學科啊，或者唔同嘅組別都要點樣去做個國民教育啊。
National education has supplanted liberal studies and now emphasizes on Chinese culture, history, and national security. Yuan believes that exchange programs can enhance students' exposure to national education and national security, as they will participate in a variety of related activities. Yuan believed that students' emotional well-being are also very crucial.
咁所以我覺得國民教育上邊其實都已經做得好完備嘅。
Professor Carrie John Kennedy, an education specialist at the Education University of Hong Kong, defines that national education as a means for Hong Kong to comprehend its role within the nation.
Hong Kong, as part of China, has a responsibility to help people in the city understand what that means about understanding where local jurisdictions like Hong Kong fit into the national picture.
This year's policy address, announced by John Lee, tackles onto patriotic education again, spoke on strengthening the sense of patriotism in the city as the 80th anniversary of the War of Resistance in China is next year. Lee announced that the Education Bureau will implement joint school and cross-sectoral activities aimed at enhancing the curriculum with more content on Chinese history and national geography for primary and secondary school students. Yan believes that focusing on national history and geography may not be to the students' interests.
It's more reasonable to think of how to balance the work of teachers. Otherwise, if you just put a lot of national education tasks to the school, but actually the teachers has no room to fulfill it.
Kennedy added that with everything that has been promoted in patriotic education, he doesn't expect much more changes. This is Elif from TYR News.
That's all from us on this year's Chief Executive Policy Address.
Thank you for watching and good night.